because I think Dominic has covered so much ground, and I agree with the analysis, and it's just a really difficult thing to unpick in terms of there's not an immediate answer, and it's a bit frustrating sometimes when people think that it's just one element, and I think the way that Dominic has put it into context about his relationship with our farming system, the role of farmers as custodians of the countryside as well, which you didn't quite, I think was implicit in what you said, but what do we expect from farmers? And I think there's a two-way process in our relationship with farmers, in that, yes, we acknowledge that farmers are there to make a living from the land, they've got businesses to run, they're struggling. The economic viability of the farming industry is something that I grapple with every day. And at the moment, say with milk prices, I was at the Bath and West Country show recently, talking to farmers, and at the moment the price of milk is around 20p litre. The price the farmers can get. You can't produce that for less than about 28p, they're telling me. So they're making a loss on everything they produce. What's ironic is they can actually make money if they go organic, because they can sell it for double the price. And it would cost them more to produce organic, but it's about the 35p mark, and they can sell for about 40. And I was talking to one farmer who had two herds, organic and non-organic, and he was making money on one and losing money on the other. And I didn't ever quite get round, we were very busy going on the show, I didn't quite get round to asking him why it was that he wasn't choosing to go totally organic. And I guess it's because there's not enough of a market for organic milk at the moment. People aren't prepared to pay. There's some people who are prepared to pay the premium price, but other people who aren't. And I don't believe that the answer to the struggling, those struggling, those losing money, is to go down the industrialised farming route. But slightly different debate, but it is having an impact on just the desperation of farmers to, if you're losing your herd to TB, that is a tragedy for them. It's not, and I think we always have to keep saying, if you're people who care about animal welfare, as we all do, you actually care about cows dying in horrific deaths from TB. It's not just like you think that badgers are cute and cuddly, and you want to say to badgers, I know there's cows that, are just milk machines, and you're not worried about that either. And it's not that you're not worried about farmers being able to make a living, it's that you just don't think that badger culling is the answer. And that's been the Labour position for quite a long time now. I should say Wales, the Labour administration there is taking an alternative approach that is showing signs of success. But our view is that the badger cull is unscientific, ineffective, it is not the answer to bovine TB. We are very keen to look at other ways in which we can curb bovine TB, and that is, as you say, badger vaccination is a worldwide shortage at the moment, and the priority does have to be for human health, but we need to resolve that shortage in world markets. We need to look at cattle vaccination. I know that there's question marks about which of the tests are suitable and where the FSU is looking to find it appropriate tests, but the cattle-to-cattle transmission, the movements, the testing, all that biosecurity and farms is incredibly important. And again, as you say, it's the fact that it used to be that cows didn't move around very much. You might have a bit of trade with the local markets, but now there's far more cattle movement, and that is definitely an issue. So we're looking at all of those issues, but in terms of where we are in the political point of view, and I know people do get a bit frustrated. I had people pretty much as soon as we had the leadership election saying, Jeremy's been in post a week, he hasn't said anything about badgers. And actually more pertinently perhaps, when I got the DEFRA job. The DEFRA is actually a really broad brief. So air pollution is the water industry and the quality of water, but how we can stop people flushing things down and polluting. Plastics pollution is massively important to me, and I've been working. Lush is one of the cosmetic countries that banned microbeads from its products, but we want to see them banned across the not just the cosmetics industry, but so looking at things like that pollution, the whole circular economy, waste recycling, how we can be far more resource efficient, as well as food and farming, and there's just masses to deal with. The difficulty is with the badger issue is getting it onto the political agenda when
it's not absolutely time critical. And the problem always is with politics is that to get people interested, when nothing is actually happening, and to warn them that something is about to happen. You see it with things like saying that the bedroom tax was going to come in. Try to alert people to the fact that the bedroom tax is going to come in, and people are going to not be able to afford to live in their home homes where they've lived for a decade. You couldn't get people interested until the first bills came through the door saying you've got to repay this amount. And I just see it time and time again. Obviously, that's not me expressing defeat and saying we can't do anything about badgers until the culling starts. But it's just to sort of lay bare the political realities that it is quite difficult to get you've got your petition, haven't you? And it's just getting that critical mass. At the moment, people are signing petitions about bees, for example, but badgers is a bit more of a difficult one to push. Where we are though, as you know, the government snuck out a written statement on the last day before we went into Christmas recess, and I put out an immediate response to that saying that there was no, the experts had said that the pilots that have been run, the Dorset, Somerset and Gloucestershire culls were ineffective, inhumane, unscientific, were not the answer to badger culling, and therefore the government had no evidential basis on which to roll out the tests. The chief scientific advisor said the same, their panel of experts. That's why they've ended up going to the vets, because the vets are the only people they can get to actually say that it's part of the mix and perhaps we should cull badgers. But again, we tried to make a fuss when they snuck out that written statement, but it was the last day before we went into recess, and they did 48 different written statements that day. A whole range of things that they were trying to sweep under the carpet during Christmas recess. So we did do a response then. What we're waiting for now is, I think there's 27 expressions of interest or applications for our new culls. I've been tabling parliamentary questions, trying to get answers from DEFRA. I've met with Natural England, with the chief exec, trying to find out where we are on those licences, and not got much information at all. I think some of those people who've expressed interest may have dropped away, but we just don't know when the licence is going to be granted, and we don't know how many there'll be. Some of the focus of my questions, written questions, has been on things like the policing costs, because we know that the cost $500,000 to police the badger culls, £7,000 cost per badger shot during the culls. That is money that's got to come from the public purse somewhere, and God knows where the public finances are after Thursday's vote. But in itself, that is an issue about whether they can afford to carry out the badger culls, if they can afford the policing. In terms of what DEFRA does now, you'd imagine if you're Liz Truss going into work on Monday, you've got to look at the whole issue of farmer subsidies, and again, if you're straight on the phone saying what's going to happen, you've got to look at the nature directives. You've got so many issues that you've now got to do an analysis of how it's affected by the EU vote. I suspect approving badger licences won't be top of her list, but at the same time, I also think that apart from the cost implications, her instinct would be to just approve every single licence. Whatever people want to cull badgers will be to say yes. And Natural England will see their role, although they're meant to be applying. Is it 4 tests that Natural England have got a sort of supervisory role with the licences, and I think there's 4 elements they've got to look at. But I think that'll be pretty much a rubber stamping exercise. So the danger is that there won't be a discussion about the badger cull. There'll be all these other issues that are being discussed in DEFRA. They'll just allow licences to anyone who wants one, with the caveat that they might not be able to afford the policing and associated costs that go with it. So I spoke for much longer than I thought I was going to, but
while you're here, just a few points we can bring up. I think you're right, we've got 27 expressions of interest, but I think we've been led to believe we might get 6 new licences out of that. We have seen something come back along those lines. We think Devon and Cornwall most definitely are probably the strong ones, Herefordshire possibly as well. You're right, I don't know what's going to happen in that department. As I said, when we met the European Commission, they were talking about the 30 million that goes into the UK's eradication strategy programme every year. That's over half of the TB eradication budget in Europe going to the UK. Now that's all got to be open for question because of what happened on Thursday. That's a massive problem for Liz Truss because they can't do without that money. The department needs that. It goes into compensation for the farmers, it's going to sort some of the tests. It's not being spent on culling badgers, it's ring-fenced away from them. But without that money, the whole thing will collapse. I think there is an opportunity now to continue to press the case on costs like never before, because we know, as you rightly say, the department's budget is already under massive pressure. I think half of DEFRA's budget has disappeared in 5 years because of cuts, effectively. And now the NFU are going to have to get serious. What is their priorities? Killing badgers at great public cost for no real benefit, or actually sorting out the mess of CAP and all the issues around, you know, subsidies for farmers in what might be a post-EU world. So, you know, it's going to be interesting, but I think from our perspective, we're going to be calling, I think, and I'm thinking about this on Monday, but you can expect us probably to call for a halt to badger culling in relation to all of this at the moment. And, you know, they have to review everything. This whole policy now has to be called into question, if nothing else from a taxpayer issue and from what are our priorities for our farming industry, because quite rightly, you know, we as an organisation don't want to be seen to be anti-farmer. I think farmers up and down the country are going to have some very serious concerns about their livelihoods and about as to whether the UK economy can now actually give them what they need. I remember seeing Boris on Country File being, you know, Boris saying everything will be fine when he was speaking to Tom Heap, but actually had no answers when Tom was asking what would a post-Brexit world look like, you know, in terms of all the support farmers get. So, absolutely, I think that's...
actually two things, because it's the direct support. So, about 55% of farmers' incomes come from subsidies, EU subsidies. And although the Brexit camp will say, but we pay that money in, and therefore we won't have to be paying however many, now I don't know what figure they're currently using, because they admitted the figures they were using were false. But it's one thing to say, well, we'll destroy this money back in Britain, we won't have to send anything via Europe, so therefore we'll have more money for farmers. But, you know, nobody believes them that they will actually keep up the same level of farming subsidy. But then there's also the wider economic effect. You've seen, you know, without Morgan Stanley yesterday announced 2,000 jobs are moving, you know, moving the back office functions to somewhere like Dublin. Airbus employ and Rolls-Royce employ lots of people near my constituency. They're saying they can't promise future investment. One of my colleagues actually phoned up Heinz, which is the biggest employer in her constituency. They said, well, no, we can't promise. We can't promise we're going to stay here, 800 jobs. And that's happening across the board, that we do not know whether we're going to go into another depression, and certainly farmers' incomes or something like everybody else's.
Exactly. I think the next 3 months, no matter what, there's not going to be a lot happening in government other than a focus within who's going to be the next leader of this party, what the negotiation process with the European Union is going to be, what's going to happen in Scotland, as we know that already Nicola Sturgeon has fired the gun effectively on a second referendum campaign, and she says she's going to open negotiations immediately with Brussels. So we are in unknown territory, aren't we?
And actually, what we saw during flooding, when I first got this job, you know, well, in December and January, flooding was like by far the biggest topic for DEFRA. And it became clear that they simply do not have the resources to do that work. The Climate Change Adaptation Unit has been slashed down to absolutely nothing. I mean, Owen Paterson didn't, when he was DEFRA Secretary, he didn't believe in climate change, wouldn't let them mention the word climate change. So none of that work was being done. But it is a department that can't cope with another crisis. You know, it can't cope with. It can only just about manage to deal with flooding. And if anything else goes wrong, yeah, that would be an issue. So, yeah, they're going to be very, very tightly stretched. So I think the argument that badger culling, you know, they're not in a fit state to actually be able to analyse whether a badger cull should be rolled out with a licence to be granted is actually quite a good question to put to.